Hello, welcome. I'm Gary Washington, and my presentation will be addressing the challenge of advising student athletes who are first-generation students using the total intake model of the academic advising delivery methods. First, as a way of definition, first-generation students are students who have not had either of their parents graduate from college, meaning they have not received their bachelor's degree. Currently, almost 40% of students entering college are classified as first-generation students. The increase in the number of student athletes on campus is due to the increase in number of women's sports, the addition of other sports on campus, and the overall enthrallment American society has with the culture of sports. So student athlete numbers have increased on campus, as have first generation. Merging these two populations together, you have an increased number of student athletes who are first generation students. The challenge is how best to advise them, because we have retention issues, graduation issues, major issues, things of that nature. The focus is to implement the total intake method of academic advising. The total intake method of advising is involves a two-step sequential format in which beginning freshmen and transfer students receive intensive, intrusive advising from a trained professional advisor. The total intake method, the TIM, puts the first advising responsibility in an advising office. Now, my proposal to resolve this issue on campus, using Lake Erie College as my example, a couple of steps involved. In the first step, I would discuss with the academic advisors at Lake Erie College what number of students that they have coming in as first-generation students. I would take this information and take it to Dr. Brent Robinson, who is the head of advising at Lake Erie College, and I would find out, first of all, if he had these statistics available, and if not, to make him aware of them, that there are an increased number of first-generation students on the campus of Lake Erie College. One of the things unique about Lake Erie College is that it has been historically an all-female institution up until 1985. And then there's been very few men that have come into the school. The new president, Michael Victor, who took over in 2005, his goal is to increase the enrollment and presence of Lake Erie College in the Northeast Ohio community. In doing this, he has spearheaded the addition of several athletic programs, including football and track, to bring more male students to the school. In doing this, the number of first-generation student athletes has increased tremendously. The issue and challenge at Lake Erie College that I will discuss with Dr. Robinson is that of there are no additional advisors to specifically advise this population. Now, going back to the steps, the process would be to gather the information from the academic advisors, present this to Dr. Robinson, and see what his feelings are on the matter. We'll take this information to get a collaboration with him or an approval to move forward to the registrar, Barb Errolson. She is in charge of the hiring, the restructuring, anything involved in any changes, financial aid, human resource she has influence in, and the advising department, as well as admissions and registration. In order to garner her support, we would have these statistics and this information collaborated in order for her to take this to Dr. Victor, who will present this to the Board of Trustees. At the same time, dealing with the athletic department, I will approach Lauren Farello, who is the Assistant Athletic Director, and she is also in charge of compliance and student academic services, to find out what information she has on the number of student athletes who are first generation students. The emphasis should be on the student part of athlete in order to best advise them. Having the information with Dr. Robinson while getting the information with Lauren Farello is advantageous to move forward in the steps in resolving this matter in order to implement the total intake model of advising on the campus of Lake Erie College. I will then go with Lauren to the athletic director, Grizz Zimmerman, and make the presentation of the findings, while at the same time would work to have established and will rebuild the communication between the academic advising department, the registrar, and the athletic department that would go further than just admitting a student athlete on special concerns conditions. The issue, again, is the method of advising the student athlete who is a first-generation student. These students are dropping out, failing to complete seasons, becoming academically ineligible because of the lack of the ability to appropriately discuss their issues and problems with an appropriate advisor. In the advising department, there are so many students that are now enrolled that Dr. Robinson is overwhelmed and has assigned students to faculty advisors who have very little, if any, advising experience beyond just course selection and information in their major field. Furthermore, after getting all this information and having all of this knowledge appropriately, I will have the support of the athletic director, Grizz Zimmerman, the assistant athletic director, Lauren Farello, the head of the academic advising department, Dr. Robinson, the registrar, Barb Errolson, and the academic athletic liaison, who is a coach of 2 women's sports, and the assistant facility director, who has not been trained in advising. I will have their support to go to President Victor and make this proposal and presentation on the necessity of addressing the issues and the needs of student athletes who are first generation students. And after that, during that process, I will get approval to use other methodologies, including technologies, Facebook, social networks, MySpace, the campus intranet system, in order to appropriately proceed with instituting and implementing the total intake model of academic advising delivery for first-generation student athletes. Thank you, and I certainly hope that we've learned some things as how to progress in the process and deal with the issue and challenges that face first-generation student athletes.